Former Arizona state trooper sentenced after sexually assaulting women during traffic stops. What's especially disturbing is how simple traffic stops, have become the stuff of nightmares, and when a cop pulls someone over now, they're just hoping that all that cop wants to do is write them a ticket. A former Arizona state trooper will spend 5 years, and I'll tell you why that doesn't sit right with me in a second, in prison after he pleaded guilty to multiple sex-related charges stemming from his actions during traffic stops. According to Fox 10 Phoenix, Tremaine Jackson, who was a 13-year veteran of the Arizona Department of Public Safety at the time of his arrest in 2019, was initially charged with 61 counts of sex-related kidnapping and fraud charges, according to the AZDPS website. What doesn't sit right with me is when law enforcement commit these crimes, they always try to play like taking their badge is the biggest part of the punishment, and the jail time comes on the back end. This man is a 13-year veteran. He didn't just start doing this to his woman in the 13th year. He's been doing it since year 1 or 2. And he was using his badge to get away with it. He was using his badge to commit these crimes. Agreeing to a plea deal, Jackson pleaded guilty to unlawful imprisonment with sexual intent, bribery with sexual intent, attempted kidnapping with sexual intent, fraud with sexual intent, and unlawful sexual conduct by a peace officer, which is a disrespect to the name. And mind you, his plea deal was for 5 years. He did all that, and he got to walk away with 5 years, of which he's probably only going to do the better half of 4, unless he slips in the shower and falls on a razor 50 consecutive times. One can only dream. In addition to the prison sentence, Jackson was also placed on lifetime probation. Records show Jackson was arrested by AZDPS, thank you for the acronym, on September 10, 2019, after the agency investigated multiple complaints from community members, which included at least 8 victims. 13 years on the force, you know there were more victims, but shout out to the ones who stood up to get this guy out of there. That took a lot of courage, because you don't know if anyone's in on it with them, and you don't know if anyone's going to try to cover for him. In June of that year, the agency received a complaint against Jackson alleging he sexually assaulted a woman during a traffic stop. He was immediately placed on administrative leave, and law enforcement began to investigate. The Arizona Department of Public Safety deeply regrets the reprehensible acts perpetrated by Tremaine Jackson. Jackson broke all trust with the community and the department. We will continue to investigate any new leads or information, said then AZDPS Director Colonel Frank Milstead. With Arizona, all I can picture is open road, vast expanse, just miles and miles of country with nothing around, and you have this guy, he's not looking to do any police work, he's just prowling. More victims and disturbing allegations against Jackson were discovered during the investigation. According to the Associated Press, Jackson would be in a patrol vehicle or marked motorcycle when he would pull over women between midnight and 4:30 a.m. That is terrifying, and detain them for around 2 hours, and there's nothing around for miles, just you and him. Charging documents obtained by AP said he would ask what the woman was willing to do to avoid arrest. The misconduct ranged from forced touching to asking for cell phone numbers and nude pictures, because you're essentially in the middle of nowhere with no oncoming traffic, no witnesses. This guy can say anything happened. He can say he pulled up on an abandoned car. There was nobody in it. In 2 cases, Jackson was accused of grabbing a woman's hand and putting it on his genitals. He was also accused of pressuring a woman to agree to oral sex and following her to a friend's house. The woman reportedly ran inside and locked the door. Good for her. Quick thinking. I wouldn't be surprised to hear stories of him holding women at gunpoint to perform these actions on him. It doesn't seem out of his range. A report by the AP in 2019 also said Jackson forced 2 women to connect with him on social media app Snapchat during a traffic stop and later messaged them. Jackson was fired by AZDPS during the fall of 2019. His peace officer certification was permanently revoked, rightfully so, by the Arizona Peace Officer Standards and Training Board during that's a lot, during an August 2022 meeting.